Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I have to start with not telling you exactly what the book is called. I assume you've read the title of this video. You're going to see the cover of the book. I'm going to censor it when I show the book cover in the thumbnail. I will censor it. I'm not going to censor it in the video, but I am going to censor how I say the title because I don't know how YouTube algorithms work and what could possibly happen. So, I'm going to be substituting one word with another word. Today, I'm talking about Crotch Kick the Witch Bitch by Edward Lee and Christine Morgan. And this is from Evil Cookie. Does that say publishing? Yes, it does. Evil Cookie Publishing. This is just a nice little book, and it is something some people, not every person in the world, some people like me have been anticipating a collaboration between Edward Lee and Christine Morgan. Edward Lee, the godfather of extreme horror. I never know if it's extreme horror, splatterpunk. There's debates on what each one means. Splatterpunk, I believe the preferred idea of splatterpunk is that there's a message. The authors are fighting against the system, whereas extreme horror is just let's be as extreme as possible. Not the best definitions, but so I'm not sure where Edward Lee falls. Some of his books I think don't have any message. They're just as extreme as possible and hugely entertaining. Christine Morgan is the up and comer. She could take his place. She's already written two books that are part of the Edward Lee's Inferno series. Lake House Infernal. I read it. I believe I reviewed it. And then I'm going to glance over here. Warlock Infernal, which I have not read yet because I'm a crazy person and just have been putting it off. But Christine Morgan, fantastic author. I read her book, Spermjackers from Hell. It was the first thing I ever read by her. And when I read it, I was like, this could have been written by Edward Lee. Simply for the type of story it was, not like she's ripping him off or anything. Anyway, they finally got together and wrote Crotch Kick the Witch Bitch. In this story, we have these three rich women down in Florida, or at least their husbands are rich. They're living the rich lifestyle, and they are at their brunch, and they all come to the conclusion that their husbands are cheating on them with the witch bitch down the street and decide that they're not going to put up with that. I think that's all I'm going to say plot wise. But things move on from there. Christine Morgan writes a lot of different types of things, but when she's writing Edward Lee style, she writes Edward Lee style. So there's the story. There's no separation here. I can't say at any point, well, Edward Lee obviously wrote this. Christine Morgan obviously wrote this part. It all just flows so well. It's funny. It's graphic. There's an author interruption. I believe this is the book. It's been a little while. It's been a couple of weeks since I read it, but I'm pretty sure this is the book where there's an author interruption, and it even says, hey, if such and such classic piece of literature can do it, then we can too. So it's got that kind of humor to it. It's it's just so much fun. I gave it 4 out of 5. Usually I'd mention that earlier for the too long didn't watch folks, but I forgot because I'm tired. I always seem to be tired nowadays. I'm getting old. This looks like it's going to be a short one. I'm looking at the time, the recording time, and I'm not sure what else to say. I don't want to say anything else about the plot, and I've already said that it's, if you're a fan of Edward Lee, if you're a fan of Christine Morgan, if you're a fan of one but haven't ever read the other, doesn't matter. It's it reads like an Edward Lee book. It reads like a Christine Morgan book. They work well together, and it's just good, funny, extreme, gross, goofy, violent, bloody fun. I think I covered everything. So 4 out of 5 stars for Crotch Kick. You can see what it says. The Witch Bitch. There you go. Don't know what else to say about this wonderful little book. Question for this video. Are you a fan of Edward Lee and or Christine Morgan? Obviously, as usual, I'm a huge fan of both. I have a nice big Edward Lee collection right over there. Tons of trade paperbacks, limited edition hardbacks, all of his leisure paperbacks. The one, like the biggest collector's item book that I have is an Edward Lee book. I've mentioned it before. It's in a cover, a box, I don't know what you'd call it. It's gold. The lid opens up and it's got one of those ribbons that you can use to lift the book out. And the book has the spine is snakeskin. It's illustrated. It's signed. It's beautiful book. So huge fan of Edward Lee. Huge fan of Christine Morgan. Her stuff is scattered. I was originally putting it in, there's another room where I have a few shelves that I have some books on because it's not my room. But I took over some space. So I was putting her stuff there, but as things accumulated, Warlock Infernal's there. She has a big fantasy like omnibus book that I got directly from her that's right over there. And then I know there's some more over there. And I think there's one that's like some steampunk stuff, and there's a gothic, and then the extreme horror. She's a very wide variety of things that she writes, but she does it well. So yes, I'm a huge fan of both. Are you a fan of one, the other, both? Are you not familiar with either one? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, as of this recording, I'm still on Twitter at Ronin5757. On Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, it's Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. And if you're on Blue Sky, I am at EL Smith. That's all I have for you. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.